Hello again, my friends. Welcome once more back to the cellar. Welcome to Leopard Street. This is the third part of the station development video. This was originally part of part 2, but I cut it for length, hence the not having the normal intro on this. So this does follow directly on from the previous one where we put the relays in. This time we're going to have a look at putting some servos in. So this is why it sort of like may feel a bit disjointed. It was originally part of something else. Anyway. This is Leopard Street. Okay, so what I've got is one of my little servo holders. I'll fit the servo to it in a minute, but we can see that pivots that way. It does pivot backwards and forwards as well, not that way, but that's the action we want. So the servo is going to be in over here, and it's going to have an arm that moves from there to there. And as you can see, that rocks the other wire. That goes through the hole into the point, and away we go. The first thing I need to do, though, is work out where to fit this. So I'm going to get my pen. And this is going to go through the hole. And it goes through the hole in the tie bar on the other side. Now, what I now want to do is hold this. I mean, at the moment, it moves just a little bit up and down. Now, I can toggle that, and I can feel that moving on the spring. Now, obviously, you can't really see the movement on that. So what I need to do is move it into the highest position this way. Hold that level. Hold that level. Ideally, this needs to be level with the point. And it's going to get held there, and I'm going to put a line like that. And I'm going to mark out that hole for the screw. What I'm now going to do is lower it. And again, hold it level. Mark a line, and I'm going to mark that point. You can drag that out. Now, what that's given me is a line there and a line there. Come down there. So I know I want to put the screw in the middle of that. And to do that, have I got... Right, what I need to do, get a screw. Get one of these. And I need to put this into that central hole. So I need to line it up carefully with that. That's going to go in there. I'm going to hold it level. I'm going to try and hold it level. Ram the screw in a bit further. Right, do that. This is where it gets annoying with the board not being as secure as it could be. Right, that's now held in place. What I should now be able to do is thread this through this hole, and then through the diddy hole on the other side of it. So that goes in there like that. And literally I can now change the point by flicking this up and down. And its movement isn't perfect. This isn't perfectly aligned. I've got it slightly low, but it's within the sort of range of movement I want. The servo is going to be about here, and it can change the point. That's all I need. So what I'm now going to do is put another screw in this. The thing has holes for 4 screws. In practice, it doesn't need 4 screws. It really only needs the front 2. But I'm going to put those in as well. Front 2 are needed basically to hold the thing rigid, really. I don't want it lifting slightly on one side. Now the next thing to look at is setting the actual servo up. So if I get hold of one of these things here, what we've got, these little servo horns. Now there's a couple of ways you can use these. And you can get different designs. This is if assuming I can get into the bag, which is obviously not a given. Yeah. So what you get with these, you get 3 screws there are two slightly larger screws, look like that. They are for going through, and grab a servo. They're for going through the two mounting holes. I don't use them. This is a clip. What you've then got is a smaller screw which goes through the servo horn, and I use this style, and can be screwed into place. So what I'm going to do is put the screw into the middle, because I've designed these so I can screw all this together before I install it. And I want a slightly smaller screwdriver. Sorry you can't see this, I just need to get this somewhere I can work on it a bit easier. Come on, go in. You know you want to. Or in this case, it knows it doesn't want to. Right, let me just... Yeah, it's one of these things. Sometimes getting these screws to actually bite is a little bit awkward. You don't, strictly speaking, need to screw the horns into place. I tend to, because I've found if you don't, after a while, they can start to work loose, which, generally speaking, you don't want. Right. For reasons best known only to itself, this does not want to go in. Try a different screwdriver. I'm just trying to find a screw. I've got the screwdriver I've used before for these. Yeah, it does bite on it. It just doesn't want to in this case for some reason. Never mind. Right, that in there. Try again. See, I'm trying to fit this in such a way that it'll go in. They say never work with children or animals. I think they should add servo motors to that as well. If only because in decades to come, people will look at it and think, what? Come on, get in there. No, anyway, that screw's not going to go into the horn. There is a little hole in the end that it's supposed to go into. But anyway, that servo, that clips together like that. This bit then goes through here, and it clips into one of the holes in this arm, or at least it should. Let me just see if these are... I'll just see if these are suffering from the same thing the points did of... Not the points, the relay did of... It's not fitting in the hole for some reason. Okay. Come back to that. Right, so you've got other sorts of horns as well. Now this one pivots around the middle, so sort of like that. So you can have a servo thing on one end, and you can put some switches on the bottom, you can put switches on the top. You can get ones which are across, so you can have switches either side. Originally, I was going to use these and use micro switches. This is sort of a little bit of point on this. I don't use micro switches for position detection. And you may think, well, why? I mean, surely you care about where the point is. And yeah, I do. I really do care about where the point is. The problem is, micro switches on the servo, this really doesn't want to go in this hole. Micro switches on the servo don't tell me where the point is. They tell me where the servo is. Now, I realise in the vast majority of cases, that is exactly the same thing. Basically, unless something is broke, they're the same. This is not going into this hole. I'm going to have to find a little drill bit and open this out a little bit for some reason. Actually, I'm going to try a different one. I've got some others. So yeah, normally it's the same, but just think about what you're measuring. What you want to know is where the point is. But if all you're going to get is where the servo is, well, why do you need a switch? you know where the servo is because you know what you've told the servo to do. And if the servo's not doing that, okay, you've got other problems. These really don't want to go in the holes. I'm going to be back in a minute when I've found a way of doing this. Okay, problem identified. Here is my servo horn. Here is another one. Spot the difference. Some of the ones I've got have come with this size. Some have come with this size. Yeah, I need the bigger ones. I've got enough of the bigger ones. I'm fine with that. Get on with it. Okay, back. Yeah, that was infuriating. Anyway, I've now got the screw secured through the end because the screw goes through these ones as well. So what I need to do is take my servo, put the rod through there a little bit further. The rod hasn't been cut yet. That then goes through the end of the servo horn. And it will go through this one because I've tried it. And yeah, it's there. And then I just rotate this around and this moves this onto like the Z bit of that. And because of the way I've designed this mount, the servo then clicks into place. The editor's decision is final on this. The servo does click into place. Or it should. Anyway, let me just pop that back out a bit because it's not quite in it right there. There we are. That's that. Yeah. Don't tell me these servos are slightly too large as well. Right, let me just... I'm going to get another servo. I'm going to try another one of these mounts, and I'm just going to make sure they fit. And they don't, but it's only just. Right. Fun and games. I'm going to apply a file. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, back this way around. Yeah, a few quick swipes of the file and it fits. It's, this is printed with PETG. Previously, I printed them with PLA, and it's just a very slight difference, but yeah, whatever. So that's in place, and now the servo can move to two positions like that. And if we come around this side, and I can get the camera so it's not quite knocking on everything, touch that, and you can see it moves. Now that's still got the spring. I need to take the spring out, so I'm going to put that back centered. What you can see, that wire sticks out a long way. Yeah, anyway, I can't really adjust the zoom on this when I'm holding it like this. So there's two ways of dealing with that. One is to mark it, take it out and cut it, which is what I'm going to do. The other is to go at it at the top with a grinder, which I don't recommend. Now, because I've got to paint these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, essentially I'm going to put a paint mark so I know where to cut it. What I'm going to do is fit all the others, and I'm going to do all that in one go. So I'll be back in a minute when I've done that. Okay, so this is as far as this board's getting. The only things I've got to do now is add the two tails, which are going to come out this side. So I'll put another little clip here and I'll run them up through that, and I'll put the fork terminals and stuff on them in a minute. The wires still need cutting on the other side, but all of the servos are positioned for the straight through running. As you can see, the servo connectors aren't connected to anything, as I said I wasn't going to. I've tucked them in and amongst some of the other wires just to stop things hanging this way. And if I look at it from this side here, there's a very few little bits coming down. Now, these servo mounts are, if I get hold of one of these, get a ruler, sorry about the noise there, about 1 3/4 inches down. Now, I've got 3-inch clearance off the bottom of this board before I have to worry about the clearance for the trains below. So that should be fine. So what I now need to do, I'm going to remount this one. I'm going to clear the underside of that board off again. I'm going to remount this one. I've got to dismount another board. I've got another point servo to fit. Then we're going to be able to power it up and we're going to be able to try. And hopefully trains will be able to run straight over all of this. On, well, the other side. If I ran them over this, it probably wouldn't go so well. So I'm going to get it all set up. I'm going to get it reinstalled. I'll be back in a minute and we're going to play trains. Sorry, we're going to test trains. Very important. It's testing. I'm not playing, testing. It just looks like playing, feels like playing, and I want to do it. So anyway, catch you in a mo. And here we are. Board G, which is the middle one I've been working on today, is back in. F down the bottom end with the turntable is back in. As you can see, I've put the temporary tracks for the platform roads back in. Obviously, these still aren't fixed down. I have removed the insulating rail joiners. So these tracks should go live. Now, I've got my two usual suspects around there. I am going to bring the G5 up first because she's quite a nice little train. But I've also got these two here. It might need to run these two as well. So we're going to see what we can do. The lower deck, come down here and position in, is now free of dangling wires. So the lower deck is usable as well. So I've got a little bit of testing to do. This is just going to be a brief test run. The next video, which is going to be going, this is going to go out Tuesday. The next video, which will go out Thursday, is going to be a proper running session. I've got a lot of testing to do, so I'm going to play with that. But the first thing I'm going to do is try and drive one of these trains. So I'll set the camera up, and we're back in a sec. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try and bring the G5. She's going to come up onto the approach platform, which has currently got Chamoisière sitting in it, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So let's have a little go. Now, remembering this bit of the track in the back has been shown to work. The approach tracks around have been shown to work up to the board I did today. So we shall see. Let's run her a little bit quicker than this, because I can. Here she comes again. As I've said before, lovely little loco. I'm going to start with the running sessions and stuff. I'm going to start doing some close-up shots, which should look a little bit better. So what I'm going to do now is lower you down a little, because a bit lower, and you'll be able to see the newer track. Sorry for the slightly shaky camera there. I'm just trying to adjust a few things. So we're going to come in here onto the new track, over the first double slip, and then we're going to stop. And we're going to stop because there's another train in the way. So that works. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring Scotsman up on the other track. Obviously, she's going to come up backwards, but there we go. So Scotsman is over there in the distance. If I just lift you back up a bit, things may refocus slightly. Yeah. Yes. Just because the G5 can. Right, Scotsman, she's going to come up backwards now. As has been pointed out, you shouldn't really run trains like this backwards. I mean, run the tender first, by all means, but not like this. It's not how these things would run in service. Short distance shunting, yes. Anything beyond that, no. So again, she's going to come up. There's a bit more space on the platform 2, which is the departure platform. So I'm going to run her around into that. Again, just coach wobbling a little bit there with the connectors. And then again, drop down here a bit. She comes round. Now, one of the things I'm checking here as they come over these points is that I've actually cut the actuator rods back enough. Well, I'm quite pleased with that. That means both of those work. So that's 2 trains on the platform roads. I'm going to get these two out. I'm going to start bringing the others around. And I'm going to test these two tracks in the front. So now we have, for the very first time, a departure. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to set the layout up a little bit differently so that Scotsman can actually run around, and she's going to finish up behind one of my freight trains. So we shall set her off. She's going to go fairly slowly because I want to, well, as I say, this is testing, so yeah. Off we go. Nice sensible speed for departing a station. Sounded like something derailed. It seems to be going. It still seems to be going correctly. Now she's set up. She's going to do a circuit and come out on those lower tracks. I hope. I've just noticed I can't do this on the inner track. There's a train sitting on it. Yeah, never mind. So she can come around here past all these boxes that you're not really going to be able to see much behind. Yes, one of the other jobs I've got coming up is a lot of decluttering. There really, really does have to be a lot of decluttering done on this layout currently. So she's going to come around here. I'm then going to start. I'm going to get ready for the running thing. I'm going to shift those two freight trains. But this is now also testing the tracks under the station where you can't see anything currently. So yeah, apologies for it not being particularly visually interesting. She's going to come out over there. Now it sounds like she's running successfully. Now normally she wouldn't actually be able to run on this situation because there's a train in front of her, but since I'm doing it all manually, trains will go where I tell them to go. So here she comes. This is useful because this means actually the lower level tracks are working quite nicely. So she's going to come up here like this and stop. Right, what I now need to do is shift the train in front of her. So let's have a go at doing that. Release that. And the one in front is my J26. Sound on. So she's going to rumble round. With the intention of getting onto the freight loop out of the way. So we shall see how she goes. Lovely little train, as we've said before. And one thing I have noticed, the J26 objects quite strongly to dirty track. She's really quite reliable on clean track, but she doesn't like dirty track at all. So she's coming round here now onto the lower level. I think you need to get a camera down here. Ooh, this could be interesting. Yep, just having to adjust a few wires she's caught on. Yeah, slightly annoying. Right, there we go. Off we go. Yep. So this is why we test things. Just a couple of the temporary feed wires hanging down a little bit too far. I have to love how some wire will do whatever it damn well pleases. So I'm just going to keep her trundling round a little out of the way. I'm going to shift the Q6. And we're going to play around again with the station. On my nice new tracks. See how we go. Running quite nicely. Just wait. I'm waiting for a light on my my control board to change colour. Which tells me she's where she needs to be. Right. So sound off. Release. Right. Let's now shift the Q6 out of the way. So she's going to have a rumble off into the dark depths of the unseen part of the layout. And this is obviously where the block control system comes into its own. The unseen part of the layout is obviously unseen. However, because I've got sensors on it, I know where the train is, so I know when to tell it to stop, which is quite useful. Slow her down a little bit as she's approaching the stop point. She comes quite nicely. And the beauty of all this is she's now out of the way. Right. Now with her out of the way, what I can actually try and do now is bring the Scotsman round and get her out of the way, because I want her out of the way so I can bring Chamotsier thingy down. So she's going to head off. I'm going to bring her around into the reversing loops. So she will appear on these 3 tracks that you can see at the lower level towards the front, assuming everything goes to plan. She should appear on the outermost of those tracks, which is where the express passenger trains live. I'm going to bring Cheshire up into the station. Reason being, I need a loco to test a few things out with. And oh, she's not coupled to anything. It's all right. Had a point not set correctly. This is one of the things, at the moment I'm setting points manually. What I actually need is route control, so that if I select which road I want, and all of the appropriate points for that road will change. So she's going to come around. She'll be appearing shortly. Now the other thing I need to do actually is check how long these roads are, which I've not done for a while. There she comes. Around here. And I'm going to stop her there. The reason I'm going to stop her there is basically so I can see her. So yeah. Right. Next up is Cheshire, who is lurking over there. Cheshire is that way. I'm going to bring her up into the station. I would bring her up into the station if she was awake. Unfortunately, she's not. So I'm going to have to just do the traditional. There we go. Traditional slap the side of the layout. She's all right when she gets going. So I say she hasn't got any stock behind her, but that's useful. She's going to come up on the inner road, so she can come behind the G5, but when she's up here, I'm going to swap her onto a different road. Yeah. She's stalled again. Yeah, she objects to some corners, so I'm going to go and do a rescue mission. I'm going to recover her to somewhere else. I'm going to use a different loco for the experiment. I shall be visible in a sec when I go and get her. Yeah. Yeah, Chamotsier, this is the old D49 that Hornby did. She's had a new motor, but she needs more. Hello. Yeah, she needs more pickups. What I'm going to do is bring her around here. I'm going to do that, which removes her from the track. I'll use the G5 for testing the other 2 roads. It's probably easier because she's pretty reliable and she's already at the station. So that'll work quite nicely. Now, obviously, as I've been saying, the servos are in, but they're not powered. The relays are in, but they're not powered either. So what I can't do is move trains between the tracks at the station yet, which is a bit of a pity. I'd like to, but I can't. So what I'm going to do is lower down again. what I want to do is test these two tracks out. Oops, excuse me. So what I'm going to do is put this lovely little G5 onto this one. Now this is my loco stabling road in theory, so let's pick her up, make sure this works. G5, sound works. You can reverse slowly onto that slip, because obviously there isn't track on the other side of it. So the idea here is just see if it works. Well, she can roll over that pretty well. This is really just confirming more or less what I sort of know, because I've been there testing with a multimeter, that the systems work. And she can rumble forwards onto this little stabling road. Half of this stabling road will have platforms, half of it won't. Let's pick her off. Back on this one. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go backwards over the point. Although here, obviously, I've got the little stub of track to run onto. She really does need dusting. This is the other thing I need to do when I'm tidying up down here, is actually dust everything, because I've been doing a fair bit of woodwork. So that bit works. Bring her forwards, and this will stick her onto my parcels platform. It's going to be a little bit awkward to twist around and show, but suffice it to say, it goes all the way down there. I'm going to have a little wander. She's going to donate her coaches to the B12, I think. That works, and come back again. Here we go. So yeah, this is the parcels road. It will eventually also be my DCC programming track. There is one at the lower level, but it's now quite awkward to get to. And because it's awkward to get to, I can't get to it. So what I'm going to do now is put her onto this road here, where she's out of the way, and tell her to be quiet. Excuse me again. So I'm knocking the camera. Right, the next job, it's again just a bit of a running thing here, is I want to get the B12 forwards, and she's going to do a proper layouty type loop. So let's have a look, see if I can get her to run. B12, whatever, forwards. Yeah, man, you know you want to. I say she's not the most reliable of locos at the moment. I need to sort her pickups out, so I'm just going to do a little bit of manual train reorganisation. Put that one on the end. I'll bring these two coaches in. I have been playing around with a bit more with the painting of coaches. Again, this is something we'll look at in another video. But for now, let's see the B12 onto departure, and I'm going to set her route up for the middle road. So she's going to come in alongside the Flying Scotsman. So let's set her on her way. Whoa. Derailed coach. My own fault. I've been playing around with it. Right. Pan around and we can watch her. Off she goes. Another train departing what will eventually be Leopard Street Station. She's not going to do the full loop. She's going to run straight into the storage area. And that's the sort of train I'm going to be able to run here. I was originally planning 3 and 4 car, but I think it's going to change up to 5. So the platform's long enough and the loop roads are long enough. So Frankly, why not? And she's objecting to some points. I'm going to have to go and investigate. Again, this is why I've got a lot of reliability testing on this layout to do. Which is going to involve running everything at varying speeds. So there are definitely some running session videos coming up. Crawl under here and find out what's actually gone wrong there. Ah, yes. I see what's wrong. Yeah, operator error. I need to set some more points. Didn't set the route properly. Ah. Kelly, you know when you say I've operating points entirely manually, you've got something going there, I must say. Right. Set us a moderate speed and then... Come on, wakey wakey. Wakey wakey. Those of you with a sensitive disposition, look away now. Because I probably shouldn't be doing this, but never mind. Come on. Okay, I'm going to... Slight change of plan. I'm going to set her for the through route. Because I'm probably going to need to go and catch her. Ah, dear. You have to love the things we end up doing to get trains to work. There we go. And I suspect that is another dirty piece of track. And now she's set back for the loop road. So yes, she's going to come around on a slightly longer route than I was originally planning, but never mind. Yeah. Go a little bit quicker. She might make it over the other set of points a little bit better this time with a bit of luck. Which I have changed this time. Yes, she's going to come around here, hopefully, and turn out next to the Flying Scotsman. There's another loco that I suspect a little bit more cleaning and so on and so forth will work wonders with. Yes, because when she stops, she likes staying stopped. Right, so the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to back the unpronounceable out. She's currently on the arrival road, so I'm just going to back her out. Back round onto the incline section. So put her in reverse. And again, because we're going backwards, I'm going to do it slowly. This again is testing the testing all the new track workout. But essentially, right, once she backs out, what have we got? Well, I've now got the station approach and the main part of the station, the main line section, powered up and running, which I'm quite pleased with. It's not fully running yet because I've got to get all the servos and other bits and pieces done. So there's quite a lot to do before this is really operational. I'm still really at the point of I've got two really long sidings. I mean, to give you some idea, the layout is 12 foot long. Going here. Layout's 12 foot long, so I've probably got siding length along the back over there. More than 12 this side. And probably about 5 foot across on the end there. So yeah, it's not far off a 30-foot siding. But the other thing I can do, actually, I'm going to do this now because I'm curious. I just want to make sure with 5 coaches behind her, she can make it up the hill. There's a slightly steeper bit in the middle. And I think that's working. Ooh. Whether she's wheel spinning there or caught on something, I'm not entirely sure. This may this may be I'm back to 4-coach trains. Let's have a go. Yes, she's actually making some rather strange noises. What it sounds like is I've got a gear slipping, which is something I'm going to have to investigate, I feel. Bring herself into the station area. If you can hear that noise, that is definitely a gear slipping. So yes, there's going to be some testing required there, I feel. Let's see if she can cope. Yes. Yes, so that's a sign of some work required in the future. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for sticking with this. I hope I've managed to edit this and speed various bits up and play around with it. It's not been too tedious. Thank you very much for watching. Likes, comments, shares, etc. more than welcome. Join me in the next one, which is going to be, like I say, a running session. We're just going to drive some trains. No wire, no servos, no messing around. Let's just drive some. Till then, thank you very much, and goodbye.